Jury selection began today in New York City in the historic trial of thug-in-chief Donald Trump. He, of course, is the first former occupant of the Oval Office. Y'all know I do not call him president at all. To go on trial for criminal charges, this case centers around a potential sex scandal cover-up that took place just days before the 2016 presidential election. The trial begins today with jury selection, which, due to the large pool of prospective jurors, literally could take up to 2 weeks. The charges from Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg stem from a $130,000 payment Trump's former lawyer Michael Cohen made to adult film actor Stormy Daniels at the end of the 2016 election to keep her from going public with an allegation that she and Trump had a sexual affair. Trump then repaid Cohen in installments marked as legal fees in company records. Now, Trump actually denies having an affair with Daniels. Now, we know he's a liar. And what you also have all of these people who are making excuses for Donald Trump. I mean, my goodness, Geraldo Rivera, Clay Travis, all these people, because they cannot stand the fact that this is moving forward. So they want to make excuses for him. Now, here's the problem. There's a sign over the Supreme Court. Literally, it is etched in stone. It says equal justice under law. What that means is, it doesn't matter who you are in the United States. It doesn't matter if you're rich, if you're poor, if you're a politician or you're not, equal justice under law. But so many people have continued to make excuses for Donald Trump, and he has never learned his lesson because, for him, he figures I can do whatever it is that I want. Let's talk to my panel right now. Dr. Amakongo, being a senior professorial lecturer, School of International Service at American University. Renita Shannon, former Georgia State Representative out of Atlanta. Also, we have Dr. Julianne Malveaux. She's an economist and author out of Washington, D.C., president emerita of Bennett College. Amakongo, I'm going to start with you. I mean, here's the thing that is amazing to me. This thug, that's what he is. He's a liar. He is a tax cheat. He has cheated on multiple wives. He refuses to pay his bills. He trashes everyone. He talks about everyone. There's no level of accountability. And to watch people continue to make excuses for this man, frankly, it's pathetic.
It's pathetic. It's sad. And it's like what they're making excuses for. I mean, everybody knows, they call this the hush money trial case, but we know it's also about election interference. And we're talking about a man who paid off Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, the people who were involved in the porn industry, to keep his image as to continue to try to court evangelicals, to try to show that he was Christian, that he was going to be, quote unquote, pro-life, or as we like to talk about here, anti-abortion. And he tried to keep coming off on this. And after that Access Hollywood tape came out, people thought he was done. People like Paul Ryan, disinvited him from events. And people thought that, they should really try to get rid of him. But he had a lot more support than we thought, because when Paul Ryan tried to uninvite him from that event, Paul Ryan got booed by the people in the audience. So the fact of the matter is, Roland, I feel like at the end of the day, he probably still could have won if this tape came out, or if information about these payoffs came out, because that's how much so many people in his base wanted him. And when you talk about so much of the Hillary hate, but right now he is there. He's got to be quiet. He can't intervene the way he wants. He can't interject the way he wants. And he has to be there every day, Roland. And so we don't know what's going to happen in the actual trial itself. We don't know if there's going to be a stealth juror who's going to get on there and be like a rabid Trump supporter. We don't know. But the fact of the matter is that the process of accountability, criminal accountability, has finally started at least one of these trials, and he can't get out there and try to control the narrative. If he really wants to control the narrative, get up there and take the stand, which we also know that he's not going to do. Overall, this is a good day. And for all of those people who are trying to excuse him, they got enough stuff in their closet they don't want coming out either. But they need this man to be their front man. They need this man to be their winner at all costs, despite all of the people whose careers have been destroyed over this man. Giuliani, Weisselberg, who's in prison right now at 80-something years old. Everybody's lying on their sword for this man who will never do the same for them. But the process is moving, even though slowly, and it's a good day.
Renita, the thing for me is very simple. and that is his supporters, they literally make excuses for everything. Oh, this is political. If it wasn't him, they wouldn't be doing this. He can flout the law. He can break the law. And for them, it's like, all right, whatever. We really don't care.
Right. They're making excuses for him, which is also a tried and true tactic of the way that white supremacy is kept intact in this country, which is that when white men have done something that obviously they need to be held accountable for from a legal perspective, people tend to make excuses for them and do whatever they can to shield them from accountability. And that helps to hold white supremacy intact. It's just one of the benefits of white supremacy. And so this case is really important, him being held accountable, as well as the other charges that he's been charged with and folks trying to get accountability for other things that he's done, because we are supposed to have a justice system that is supposed to be equal for everyone. And as you mentioned in the introduction, folks are looking at this. Unfortunately, too many people in this country, their interaction and what they've seen of our criminal justice system has been that there are some people, generally rich white men, who happen to always be above the law and escape accountability. And so holding Donald Trump accountable is going to do a lot more than actually hold him accountable. It's going to do a lot to actually make people feel at least just a step closer to believing that we are moving one step closer to equal justice in this country. And that is important, because that is what, people believing that there's a justice system is what separates people from just deciding to get their own justice and just doing vigilante justice. So it is important for the country.
Juliana, what's also interesting is to watch these lying, hypocritical, atrocious, shameful, and despicable white conservative so-called Christians make every excuse possible. People like Franklin Graham, and the list goes on and on and on. And that's all they do. They excuse this man's behavior. They embolden his shameful behavior, and they know he is not even remotely a Christian.
It never has been, but he's wrapped himself around that, and they've allowed him to do so. The fact is that when we look at so-called Christianity, I say so-called, I am a Christian, but I'm that kind of Christian. I'm not the Christian who went to church and then after church went to the lynching. And these are the Christians, when we look at the defenders of the Orange Man, who basically believe in selective Christianity. So when they talk about feeding the hungry, but don't put any more money in any SNAP benefits. You talk about clothe the naked, but don't do anything about public assistance. We could go down the list of their hypocrisies. And among their hypocrisies, I believe there's a commandment that says thou shalt not commit adultery. I think there's such a commandment. But apparently all these holy rollers will make excuses for the Orange Man, who has flagrantly committed adultery I don't know how many times. We can look at any number of things that they defend that defy the Bible, the commandments, and everything else. What they really are telling us, Roland, is that they prefer to win than to be Christian. They prefer to subjugate people, especially poor people, especially Black people, especially immigrants, than to be Christian. There's nothing in the Bible that says once somebody crosses a border, they're no longer a human being. And the people who have come to the border, they've come at enormous cost. They didn't come to do anything but to survive. And yet we basically peripheralize them. So I reject their notion of Christianity. They're not behaving in a Christian manner. And, you got these youth in these conservative Christian churches wearing these little armbands that say WWJD, what would Jesus do? But Jesus would not do Trump. That's what Jesus would not do. And we know this for a fact. And so all these spinning, Geraldo, I've been glued to the TV. Well, not completely glued, because I did have to do some work. But watching off and on the television today, of course, I stay on CNN and MS. I can't have Fox in my house. But the clips of these people, and they're just telling lies. And now his new one is he gave Stormy Daniels the money to save his marriage. What marriage? Have you seen Melania lately? Girlfriend is going to get paid another couple mil to hang out for the campaign, and then she's going to keep it moving. But neither here nor there. The fact is that the question you raised about Christianity and the hypocrisy is the appropriate question. But the other question, equally, if not more important, is why do these people stick with him? Why do the white working class, who he's doing nothing for, who he's doing nothing for, they feel some affinity with him, and I'm not sure why. He's not coming to their house. Their grandkids are not going to be.
No, we know why. Because the bottom line is, he made clear, he is going to put hardcore right-wing evangelicals on the federal bench. He did that. And so what they've decided is, we will overlook all of your pathetic, narcissistic behavior to get what we want. It's also about power.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media for the creator economy. This next generation social media app with over 600,000 users is raising $17 million, and now is your chance to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.